Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Indy Mondal. Indy is the Vice President of Data at Niche. Indy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me to the show, JP.
So Indy, let's start with yourself, please, as we do with all of our guests. Could you give us an overview of your background in technology and what your journey has been from where you got started, some of the roles you've held along the way, and what's led you to where you are today as the VP of Data for Niche?
My journey in data and AI started when I was in grad school. My undergraduate was in statistical signal processing and pattern recognition. This is before we used to call it AI or ML. And a lot of the work that I did was around estimation and detection theory. So it was like pretty academic. My research was in medical imaging. And eventually I started graduating more into role developing algorithms for aerospace and air traffic algorithms. Think about like I was designing algorithm for FAA, where I was building autopilot, things like Kalman filter, particle filter for all the folks who are coming from a statistical background would understand all those statistical algorithm. Over time, I slowly transitioned more into a traditional data and AI role. And it started with a startup that I was working in, started at 2011 here at Seattle, which was doing a large scale wireless asset monitoring system. And we were building lots of smart sensors, edge computing for a lot of work around inventory management for, say, utility and construction. And we're building this very small Zigbee tag, wireless tag. And me and my team was building a lot of those algorithms in terms of location estimation and getting accurate location for identifying assets or identifying the condition of the assets. Over time, I transitioned more into your typical data and internal data roles. And data monetization role. I joined Getty after my role at startup, where I built Getty's data strategy and data monetization strategy and capability. I moved to Hulu, where I was leading a lot of Hulu's data product and data solution team, working with really large scales. We're talking about millions of data events per day, in sometimes per hour. And then that led me to DocuSign, where I built DocuSign's data science and analytics practice from scratch. And then eventually moving into my new role at Niche around 8 months ago, when I'm leading the data and AI team here at Niche.
First and foremost, for people listening who are not familiar with Niche, tell us about the business, who you are, what you do, mission of the business.
Niche is a edtech startup, and we have a very strong mission. Our mission is to make researching, enrolling in school easy, transparent, and free. What that means is we make sure that everybody in the country have a place where they can go to look for their school, whether it's your K-12 school or your college, easily. We have rankings that we publish yearly for K-12, places to live, and also college. So to really understand much better perspective about the college and the schools. We also have a lot of reviews that come from the people who attend those schools. So not just understanding from what college is putting it out there, but also how it really looks like going to school and college by the people who are attending it. And the goal is very simple. We want to make sure that we want to make access to education as equitable and as accessible as possible. So that's Niche's mission. One of the things that Niche has been doing for the last couple of years is we are also pioneering something what we call direct admissions. And if you go to college in the United States or have gone to or exploring to go to college, the admission process could be really hairy and daunting and sometimes really complex. I still remember applying to 10 different colleges, trying to figure out, okay, these are my top 3, these are my bottom 3. And frankly, most people either can afford the cost that goes with it, but also the complexity. And what we're doing at Niche is to making that going to college process very simple through a program we call direct admission. This is where we're changing the paradigm of how go to college works. This is driven by the people who are going to college. It's in their control. So you come to Niche, create your profile. Already a vast majority of 60 to 75% people who goes to college in US already have an Niche account, because that's where they do their searching and the researching of their school. But if you have their account, if you have all the details, what direct admission does is they allow students to get admission on the spot to colleges, sometimes with scholarship. So think about this: is the colleges are now targeting the students, and that sort of changing the whole process how admission works. And this has really been a very successful program and has gotten a lot of traction and press, because how it is allowing the admission process to be very similar. So that's in a very large scale what Niche does.
Yeah, thank you. Super helpful. And we'll jump into parts of the business a little later, but I want to set the stage now for your role as the VP of data. Obviously, a lot of what you're referring to there in the broader business requires ingesting data sets from various sources. So talk to us a little bit about your role, the primary responsibilities, and maybe give us a broader overview of the team that you're working with.
As you understand, at the heart of what Niche does, Niche is very much powered by data. Data is like the DNA or backbone to everything we do, right? Everything I've talked about, making going to college easy, that actually the whole process of that is, think about that as a two-sided marketplace, right? We have all the students in one place, we have all the colleges that are in other place, and we make sure that we are able to connect students and colleges seamlessly. For us to be able to do that, that is entirely powered by data and intelligence. And so our intelligence driven from our AI and ML model, the data science model that goes into that. So data team plays a huge amount of role into making sure that our product and the experience of the product and the effectiveness of the product is seamless. We, as a data team, as a company, we also publish our ranking. I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is we're one of the renowned authority in the country who publish ranking around colleges, schools, and places to live. A lot of the work that goes into building those ranking products, whether the data, the insights, all those work comes from the data team. We also, as a company, license our data to third party, because we are one of the authority of data around some of the work that we do around places to live, around the schools. So we license our data to third party, a lot of the work that goes there into data team. So if you can think about as a data team, our responsibility is not just working on making the internal decision making seamless, but also really helping the company to actually have a top line impact on our business through data. So as a data leader and as a data professional, that is really an exciting place to be. Like you are truly unlocking the value of data, not just for internal, but also to the millions of students and family that comes to Niche every year. And we are making real impact in their life through data and AI. So, and from a data team, my team basically consists of 6 different functions. So we have obviously a data analytics and reporting function that allow us to do analytics and reporting across all part of the business, whether it's product analytics, marketing analytics, some of our stuff that we do around sales and finance, which is your typical data analytics and reporting functions. I have a data engineering team, obviously, that are actually driving all of our data infrastructure, the platform, and all the data pipelines. We have in process of truly building a world-class ML and data science function that was going to be driving a lot of these intelligent models and AI-driven models that we talk about. That is already powering and will be powering our products and the rest of the business.
So Indy, I want to jump in there because you mentioned, look, there's a broader investment in the whole data org, but in particular the ML and data science side. You and I were speaking about it off air. So I want to spend a little bit of time focusing on that component. What is your plan and goal for the data science and ML side of your team over the next 12 to 24 months? What type of people are you looking to bring in, and what are you going to do with the technology? How is it going to improve the Niche platform and its various offerings?
A lot of the work are still under planning, and currently I am in process of actually building our long-term AI strategy, but in very broad stroke, right? If you really think about what is really the role of AI and ML in general, the role of AI and ML, everybody talks about it, is to truly, one, unlock the human potential, give our user the best outcome possible with as best experience that we can provide. And if you really think about what we do as a company is connecting students to the college and making sure that you as a consumer or and if you are a parent or a student, you can really figure out easily where to go to school and make that process seamless. And a big part of that journey is driven by, obviously, to make that process really seamless and accurate and effective for you. That's where the data and AI already play and will play a bigger part. For example, I'll give you some of those examples, right? Everybody comes, if you are looking for a college and you go in general, search in the Google, and then you get a list of colleges, and obviously those colleges could be, most of the time the colleges that come up are the top ranked colleges, Ivy League colleges, but very few people can actually go to those colleges. They have very low acceptance rates. But once you look beyond those colleges, there are a huge amount of tier 1 colleges that have a much better acceptance rate. They are looking for enrollment. And how do you make sure as a family and student that you have a visibility in not only what colleges that you might be able to go, but also which colleges you are most likely get an admission based on everything that you have done, whether your SAT score, your curriculum and all. And this is where the power of AI and data would come a huge amount of role. It's if I as an indie come to niche and I put all my information there might be colleges who are willing to provide me based on everything you have put in and based on the data and intelligence you have gathered from you, and also what's the college looking for. That connection that we'll be able to make in the seamless process, that's really valuable. So you know which colleges might be more likely to give an admit, but also for the colleges, give that visibility which student might be most likely to be a better fit for your college. And then not only creating that, but also making sure you as a potential prospective student going to like your admission process is just the top of the funnel, right? So you can apply to 10 different colleges, or you look for, and it's only one college that you eventually go, right? How do you make sure that we make that entire funnel, as we call it, from you identifying a college to make sure that you provide your deposit and actually show up the college, that whole transition, the whole funnel? Our goal is to make that as efficient as possible with AI and ML, right? For example, there's a college you're going to admission, and it's not just from a direct admission perspective, but from a traditional admission, like how do you make sure that you have identified the college has recognized that, but colleges are able to now work with you to make sure that we are able to guide you the next step of the funnel. And this whole process of searching, enrolling to actually attending, data and AI should play a huge amount of role and provide value in terms of unlocking that potential. And this is where I think as a data leader, especially someone who is really passionate about access to education and equity in education, I think this is a huge opportunity for us as a data practitioner to drive that, to make going to college or education a lot more accessible, a lot more equitable, so that everybody in the country, the 90% of the population who might not have the means to hire a counselor, they actually are able to go to college as effectively as someone who might actually have all the means to hire counselors and go through that.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
That takes us into the final part of the conversation, which is, in my opinion, the most exciting part for this particular topic. Knowing what we know about niche, about what you're doing, and then given what I know from our conversations, there's a really exciting 12 months ahead for you and your data org when you look at the growth and the opportunity. So when you look at the near-term roadmap, Indy, talk to us about what the plans are, what the next 12 months look like, what you're excited about, and then bringing it back to the opportunity for people, because I know you're going to have a lot of investment in building and scaling the team. So yeah, walk us through the next year for you and your team at Niche.
As a data team here at Niche, we are just getting started. Data has always been a foundation and backbone for Niche. I mean, it's everything we do have always been powered by data, but data as a function was not established until 8 months ago. The data was fragmented with different teams. So when I was brought in, the primary reason was to create the data as a core pillar, as equal to a product and engineering and marketing. So in the last 7 months, we're in process of totally defining the charter of the data organization, standardizing and structuring it. And I mentioned some of those a little bit earlier around different functions. And from that perspective, we're only getting started. We have a huge amount of potential in front of us, whether it's driving internal business decision making, if you are into analytics and reporting, and making sure that we are really becoming data driven in terms of like how we make decisions. The goal is to not, as a data team, to have endless number of dashboard. Like, do we have the right metrics in front of the right folks with the right level of action item defined, whether it's predictive and hopefully prescriptive, so that we can make the business action easily, whether it's to reach out to a customer or whether it's to, change in our strategy. That's one. We mentioned about some of the data licensing and data products. So as my team drives all the data licensing and the data monetization as well, and we have been identifying opportunities that we can really have impact around how the third-party customers who can use Niche's data and insights so that they can really be more effective within their product. For example, real estate companies often use Niche's data for intelligence around the places when you're looking for houses, right? We're putting a lot more emphasis around getting those insights a lot more predictive, so that when a customer of our customer, a consumer going to a real estate company and looking for an intelligence about the place, that they are going to be now really understanding not just the fact that has happened or descriptive fact, as we call it, but what might be like the future of that locality, right? We're trying to look into how we can utilize some of the great data we have in terms of really helping our partners, which is the colleges and university, to really be more competitive in terms of their targeting or their outreach. So there's a huge amount of potential to unlock value there. And then finally, we're working in terms of everything that we talked about, how as a data team, we can really have huge amount of impact into making our product, which is connecting students to colleges, as effective. So we're looking into our next 12 months roadmap around some of the ML and AI capability that we talked about, and how we can improve our recommendation and search and matching and all those things that I highlighted. So all of those things we're evaluating right now. And as a data team, we would be investing both in terms of time and resourcing in terms of making those really effective. And we're looking, and a lot of the modern technology that, the AI community is really excited about nowadays, like Gen AI and LLM are all being part of that. So it's a huge amount of excitement within the data team as we think about the next 12 months to really have impact both at the top line, which is direct revenue, but also at the bottom line to drive efficiency and impact with different part of the business.
In the final question from me, you've already given us some incredible information around Niche, the environment, the use of technology, and the impact, the positive impact that you're having on this industry. So I want to finish on this piece, speaking to an audience of potential future employees, knowing that there's going to be tremendous opportunity at Niche. There's going to be a lot of investment in growth, meaning lots of positions going to open. When you're speaking to people, candidates who you feel could add value to niche that you would want to hire, what is it that you would tell them about the mission, the environment, the team, the technology that would get them excited to join niche over some of the other great companies also trying to hire them?
The number one thing that I tell the people that I'm hiring and also the people who might be looking for, the number one thing is the mission. And that's sort of what drew me to niche. We talked about the mission before. As a data leader, to be really have the able to impact to the million of people. Niche is one of the largest website in terms of traffic in the country, and we get millions and millions of visitors every year. And really having an impact to those millions of family, to have a positive impact in their life and helping them to really figure out where they belong, as you call, from looking and getting to the schools. As a data professional, like have the ability to make impact to real people at that level is, to me, is really fulfilling. So if there is data professional who is really passionate about, who believe the potential of data and AI and who really wants to unlock the value of data and AI to have real positive impact on people's life and creating something that are equitable and accessible from an education perspective, I think niche would be a great place for you from a mission perspective. And just to give a little bit of data, like we know from our data from the last 2 years of direct admission, a lot of the people who have been going to college in the direct admission so far already, we know the data is heavily biased towards like people of colors or people of margin, like the people who would not have otherwise gone to colleges. We are unlocking that world and the future for them. So that's, to me, is like a huge amount of benefit that's very few company can offer. And then second, I think if you are as a data professional who wants to really get your hand dirty around really complex data, complex problem, we are one of the largest source of college data in the country. We ingested hundreds of different data sources from different sources for our ranking. And also there is a huge amount of data complexity that present in our data in terms of driving the ranking or the insight we talk about. We are also, as a data team, just getting started. So we have huge amount of roadmap from re-architecture our data platform to make sure that we build the best ML platform and the ML ops system there is, so that we can have end-to-end ML and AI development process to really monetizing our data. So I think for me as a data professional, like there is very few places I've worked where data has the ability to impact not only to the millions of peoples, but also have business impact that goes both on the top line and the bottom line. And that's where what niche does. And the data team is such a core foundation and a backbone of everything we do here at niche. And so if there is folks out there who are really moved by the mission, who are really wants to drive impact of the data, and also who likes to get their hands dirty with complex data, sometimes very challenging, but to take that data into a place where we are able to create those impact, I think niche is a perfect place for you. And I don't think there are not a lot of company who can provide you this full 360 ability when it comes to the data to have those impact at that level.
Indy, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. Really appreciate you sharing your own career backstory, your journey, but most importantly, the incredible insight into your new role and everything that's going on at niche. It's an incredible example of AI for good, and the continued investment sounds very exciting. So there's going to be tremendous opportunity for you, your team, and anyone new who joins to have a real positive impact and work in a space that's rapidly growing, lots of innovation, but most importantly, can have a positive impact on its mission. So we really appreciate it, Indy. We look forward to having you back on the show again in the near future. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, JP, for having me in the show. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.